Hey, I'm Brad. Welcome back to the Banger Hanger for another episode of Overkill Reviews. You know, it's our weekly metal review show. Sometimes we give you two, sometimes we even give you more. So there's big news in the world of Brad. I stepped down from my full-time job to focus on freelancing and touring. So in June, I'm going on a couple weeks run with my friends Bearings, and then in July, I'm heading over to Europe with Frontierer. Check those dates. If I'm coming to your area, buy a ticket to support my friends and come hang out. I might bring some Aggressive Tendencies pins or maybe stickers or some shit, and I'll give you some shit. Maybe. We'll see. You know the deal. Hit subscribe. If you have the means, donate to our Patreon. Either way, we appreciate all the support. Look, man, if you haven't figured out what this review is, I can't help you. Even if you didn't read the title because it's autoplayed or some shit, have you not watched my Whitechapel or Inter Armour reviews? Yep, they are truly living up to their proclaimed genre of harsh, grinding death. It's a new album by Full of Hell called Weeping Choir, out now on Relapse Records. I've been following this band for a very long time, but in case you haven't, let me give you the Cliff's Notes. Full of Hell formed in 2009 with members split between Maryland and Pennsylvania. This is their fourth album, assuming you're only counting their albums. They've also done collaborative LPs with Merzbow and 2 with The Body. They've done some EPs, 4 noise tapes, splits with bands like Nails, Code Orange Kids, Psy Warfare, and Intensive Care. After starting as more of a straightforward, albeit metallic hardcore band, they've been consistently adding more death metal, grindcore, noise, sludge, etc. to their mix. Although on 2017's Trumpeting Ecstasy, the core portion shifted almost entirely to grindcore as death and grind took over their sound. Vocalist Dylan Walker explained that this is a companion piece to the last album. So is it more of the same, or are they shaking it up on this sister album? Or is it brother album, companion album? Opener Burning Myrrh played earlier, and it certainly has all the trademarks of their death/grind sound. One of my favorite parts is the off-kilter, stuttering drum beat. Despite his name being Dave Bland, his playing is anything but, adding personality through both his musicality and his personality. So I specifically chose the part that played earlier to cut so I didn't give it away, but a little bit later they add a little bit more of the hardcore flavor that comes through later in the song Downward. So right off the bat, this feels like it might be a more comprehensive look at the band's sound. 4 tracks deep, after essentially giving a masterclass on death metal and grindcore, the band get to an overwhelming, harsh noise track that once again takes a previously prominent element, brings it back up, and gives it its chance to shine. This only furthers my feelings that this might be their most complete release yet. Oh, and by the way, if you're into this noise making thing and you do harsh noise, or you just want to add harsh noise to your band sound, which you should always do, guitarist Spencer Hazard actually sells his own affordable noise making devices under the name Industrial Hazard. So pick them up and make your band more badass. His bread and butter is still the guitar though, as evidenced on Downward, in Odds and Ends track with an emphasis on the odds. The opening clashes off-putting discordance with just crushing sledgehammer crunches that are only accentuated by the bass added by Sam Digrestein. Fuck, did I say that right? Armory of Obsidian Glass is the album title personified with an actual weeping choir swelling beneath. It's like wind through a tunnel, but it's just going fast enough to make the noise, not enough to be a fury and sounding angry. Note, the one-woman chorus comes courtesy of a mournful Kristen Hayter of Lingua Ignota. With this track's push and pull, it's the closest thing that we get to the title track from the last album, although the vocals are less haunting in a, horror movies reanimated creepy doll way and more in just the overall vibe. They trade that in for a morbid angel-esque opening to the Lord of the Ring checking Silmaril, which gives way to a caveman beat in the vein of mincecore with vocals that are so unintelligible they would make a Neanderthal sound well-spoken. The vocals there are, and excuse me for a second, I'm about to enter a minefield of poor pronunciation, are courtesy of Paulo Paguntalan of Ensenathrak. But the fact that it was plausible that these vocals were the band's actual vocalist, Dylan Walker, is a testament to his diverse range. He shrieks, gurgles, grunts, and growls like no other. Remember my Whitechapel review when I was like, Phil from this band is one of my top 3 active vocalists, while Dylan is one of the other ones. In fact, my friend Mary Zimmer actually analyzes vocalist performances from the perspective of a vocal coach over on her channel Voice Hacks. I sent her a song from this band and she was intrigued and decided to do a video about it, so go check that out when you're done here. We'll put a link down below. Angels Gather Here has this industrial din with these like thunderous crashes. Well, Igramil fuck man, this band has some crazy song titles. Like what's an Igramil? Fuck my life. Well, Igramil the Many has this like high-pitched guitar freakout that predicts the saxophone tantrum that will come later. It reminds me a little bit of Imperial Triumphant, which if you've been watching these videos, you know I always think is a good thing. So this is the part where we usually put worst parts. Ha! No. Full of Hell are the rare band that actually have a unique sound, which doesn't really happen that much these days because so much has been done. Part of this can likely be attributed to the fact that their influences are never cookie cutter. Their grindcore side is more Discordance Access than Napalm Death, and their death metal is more, you know, Incantation, Demolish than Cannibal Corpse and Obituary. Speaking of, so many fusion genres don't end up being an accurate representation of the components that make them. You know, a lot of death grind bands these days just sound like a almost technical death metal band, with the grind just being a nod to their past sounds. But Full of Hell are an honest-to-God death/grind band. But they're also so much more. I'm super glad to hear them bring back the hardcore and noise styles and give them room to breathe and come into their own here. They perfected their death grind sound on their last album. Now they took a step back and started reincorporating everything that got them there. Weeping Choir takes you on an emotional journey, and none of it is positive until you get to the end, and then you're immensely satisfied with what you just heard. So because of that, I'm giving this my first ever 5 out of 5 skulls on Overkill Reviews. So for shoutouts this week, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. It would be weird to not shout out the band from which Full of Hell got their name. So out now is Entombed's Clandestine Live on 3-man recordings. It's a live album recording of that classic sophomore album from the band. The first go through of the album is like a symphonic orchestra doing it, and then the band actually plays through. And also out now, Veil of Panath and their Accursed EP, which is out on Willowtip Records. It's technical death metal, as you would expect from Willowtip Records. It's good. All right, so that's all for me today. Check out the album all the way through. It's like pretty short, so you have no excuse. And then let me know in the comments if you agree that it's perfect. If I'm talking out of my ass, I'm not, because I'm right, but talk to me in the comments anyways. See ya.